Ahoy everybody, DyllonKG here. Be sure to unclench your jaw and get some water. As many of you know, the Dead by Daylight Midnight Grove event is going on right now. Actually today, level 2 of the free Halloween tome has been unlocked. So we're gonna go ahead and recap the first level of challenges and teach you the best practices to blaze through level 1 in the event that you're just behind. Let's go ahead and start on the survivor side of the Halloween tome with challenge 1, the Tangled Triumph. Finish repairing 2 Tangled Gens. Now, every trial spawns 1 Tangled Gen at default, but to increase your odds, you'll want to burn a Cursed Seed offering if you can get your hands on one. And this will spawn an additional Tangled Gen per offering burnt. So let's cross our fingers that more than one offering gets delivered. To optimize on this, there are quite a few perks that you can run as well. The Situational Awareness perk highlights the gen that you're working on in a yellow aura to any other survivors within 32 meters. Bringing Prove Thyself to increase generator repair speed would allow you to get a gen done quickly once you find a Tangled Gen, given that a teammate comes and helps you out. If you need help locating generators, Visionary or Deja Vu will reveal generator auras as well. And to complete this challenge, you just have to be present when the generator is fully repaired. You don't have to be there and working the generator from the very start. Now, to knock out the Reed Spree challenge, all you have to do is survive as Michaela Reed, whether that's via hatch or out of the doors. Of course, to do so, you'll need to own Michaela Reed. Now, if you do own her, then I have some general tips for how to survive a trial. First off, getting generators done is your top priority, but be sure you don't accidentally 3-gen your team in doing so. When it comes to unhooking a survivor, keep in mind that even with borrowed time, you don't need to unhook the survivor immediately. Set your team up for success by being patient and waiting for the killer to be invested elsewhere. While working on generators together is great and all, if a killer is chasing a survivor, having 3 other survivors on separate generators is an insane amount of pressure that is sure to pay off. Now, if you don't own Michaela, just complete the other challenges and wrap around to get Michaela's cosmetic reward for later. The next challenge, the last place you look, requires you simply to unlock 2 chests. This is fairly straightforward. Shiny or tarnished coin offerings will spawn more chests than the traditional 3 that typically spawn in a trial, and Plunderer's Instinct often will reveal their auras. It's worth noting that you have to unlock 2 chests, so appraisal won't help with this challenge. With regards to chest spawns, it is important to know that a chest always spawns in the basement if you're willing to risk it. Otherwise, chests can often spawn on the tops of hills, at the shack without a basement, or in main building, as well as several other areas too. Generosity is the next challenge, requiring you to heal other survivors for a total of 2 health states. You can do so many things here to help, honestly. Again, be patient with your unhooking. Don't put your team in a bad spot just so you can get the challenge done and get some heals. The perk Empathy is also a great perk to help you locate survivors in need. Will Make It can give you incredibly fast heals after unhooking, given that it's safe, as well as perks like Resilience, Botany Knowledge, etc. Additionally, you could simply run a medkit and Built to Last and just get those heals off on a teammate. But this is, like I said, a cumulative, so if you heal somebody for half a bar and then have to leave, and then you heal them the rest of the way later for another half a bar, all of that adds up. Moving up, you do have the Max Dexterity challenge, requiring that you get 4 great skill checks in a single trial. Now, for most of you, this won't really be that difficult, only requiring that you get some gen or healing time in. If skill checks aren't very easy, however, you can use the perk Stakeout from Detective Tap. This perk does require that you sit within the killer's terror radius without being in chase, and for every 15 seconds of doing this, you'll be granted a token that will automatically be spent to convert a good skill check into a great skill check. Alternatively, you can run This Is Not Happening, which makes the great skill check zone 20% larger while you're injured. If you combine this with a medkit or self-care and you 99 your healing bar while on a generator, healing other people, etc., you should be able to destroy this challenge. Now, if you are really worried about failing the skill checks while trying to get a great skill check, you can run perks like Technician or Bite the Bullet to ensure that the killer doesn't know what you're up to. Down from our chest challenge, there is the Squash challenge. This challenge asks you to smash 4 pumpkins across as many trials as you need. There's really no secret here. Personally, I got this one done a lot easier as Survivor, as with Killer, time is a bit more of the essence. But for what it's worth, it looks like pumpkins spawn where typically any dull totems could spawn. Moving down to the killer side of challenges, we do have Bloody Good. This challenge requires that you hit survivors 13 times with your weapon. Now, I have tested this with Huntress and Trickster, and it does not seem that their ranged abilities work, so this seems to be asking for basic attacks. The best killers to select for this, then, would be killers with basic attacks as their only form of damage. I personally find that Hag, Wraith, Spirit, etc. work exceptionally well here. I did accomplish this one with Spirit, but I also was able to do this on an alt account with Ghostface. Now, the next challenge is called Terrified, requiring that you make survivors scream 13 times. You can accomplish this with any killer, as survivors typically scream when they're downed, but to make it simpler, you can absolutely use Infectious Fright, Iron Maiden, or just play as the Doctor. You may also run the perk Deathbound, forcing survivors to scream when they finish healing each other at a distance of 32 meters or more, and you could even use Eruption. Halloween Hook is our next challenge, requiring that you hook 3 survivors on a tangled hook. To begin with, if you have the perk Agitation, this may help you get to your hook, especially if it's in a disadvantageous location. Next up, all you need to do is hook 3 survivors, not sacrifice, and they don't need to be different survivors. So you could reuse the same hook, or even reuse the same survivor multiple times to knock out this challenge. And as before, you could burn the Cursed Seed offering and pray to the entity that the people you are going against do the same. Below this, we have the Reverent challenge, which asks you to sacrifice 4 survivors to the entity. Now, it is worth noting that sacrifices have to happen on hooks, so caution to Pyramid Head players and anyone looking to mori their foes. Otherwise, let your mind run wild with how to achieve this, as it does not need to be completed in a single trial. And in moving up, we do have the Scrapyard challenge, which only requires that you damage 5 generators. Damaging generators doesn't just require that you kick them, so while Pop Goes the Weasel works, so does Eruption, Oppression, and Surge. However, you can also just run around kicking gens without any specific perk at all. Now, it is worth noting that Hex Ruin does not quote-unquote damage generators, so maybe let that one set out. And finally, we have arrived at the final challenge, just past the Bing Bong Boo charm that asks you to get 50,000 blood points by any means. This is most easily achieved by playing Killer, running Barbecue and Chili, and burning an offering that would grant more blood points like Survivor Pudding. Even if you're not the best killer and you only get 1 or 2 kills, you should be able to get well over 50,000 points just with these alone in one trial. If you can't do one trial though, 2 should be more than enough. And that about sums up level 1 of the tome, best practices, how to maximize and really just blaze through it pretty efficiently. Good luck with level 2 as we head into the final week of the event. Have a safe and happy Hallows Eve, and I'll be praying to the entity to see you guys in the fog.